Hello and welcome back. We're doing something a little different today. We're actually going to, well, we're going to stop. We're pausing the flood of new information to look at what we've actually gathered.
Hmm.
You know that feeling, right? Where you have all the puzzle pieces spread out on the table, you've read the books, you've listened to the talks, you've highlighted all the key paragraphs, you know the theory inside and out.
Oh, yeah. It's that classic frustration. You're just drowning in information, but, starving for actual wisdom, for the thing that works.
Exactly. You get concepts like the subjective mind or the law of cause and effect. Intellectually, it all makes sense. You could probably pass a test on it.
Right.
But then Monday morning hits, the alarm goes off, the inbox is overflowing, and suddenly all that beautiful philosophy just, it evaporates. You're not living it. You have the map, but you're definitely not walking the path.
That's the gap, isn't it? The gap between the library and the street. We collect all these pieces of knowledge, these ideas, but we don't have the architecture to hold them all together when life gets messy.
And it feels like a personal failure almost.
It does. It can even create a sense of guilt because you feel like you should be able to apply it.
Well, that's what we're here to fix today. This is the finale of our journey with Thomas Troward. We're calling this our final synthesis, the whole method. We're going back to his book, The Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science from 1909. But today isn't about more theory. We are done with theory for a bit.
Today is about assembly. We're taking the really rigorous, judicial logic of Troward, and we're fusing it all into a single, usable system, a framework for daily life.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
So it's important to remember who Troward was, He wasn't some guru living on a mountaintop. This was a divisional judge in British-administered India.
I've always loved that detail about him. It just grounds everything he says.
It matters so much. Think about a judge's mindset. They have to sift through all this emotion to find the facts. They care about evidence. They care about results. He wanted a system that would, stand up to cross-examination in the real world.
So that's our mission, to strip away the philosophy and leave just the practice. We're calling it the whole method.
I like to think of it as mental engineering.
Yeah.
Not magic. It's engineering.
Okay, let's get into it. The whole method. It's made of 7 specific parts we found in the lectures, and I want to go through them one by one. Let's start with the first one. Principle before technique.
This is the foundation. And if you get this part wrong, nothing else is going to work properly. Troward is adamant that you can't use a tool effectively if you don't understand the law that governs it.
It's like trying to use a phone without knowing it needs a battery. You'd just be pressing buttons, getting frustrated.
Exactly. So before you try to manifest or fix anything, you have to first intellectually accept a core premise, and it's a big one. You have to accept that your personal mind is a distribution center for the universal mind.
The distribution center. Okay, that sounds a bit passive, doesn't it? Like I'm just a pipe and I have no say in the matter.
That's the common hang-up. But think of it this way. The pipe gives the water its shape, right? The pressure comes from the reservoir, but the pipe directs it. Troward's saying you don't create the energy or the intelligence, you distribute it. You give it form.
Oh, like a prism with sunlight.
Perfect analogy. The prism doesn't create light. The sun is always there. The prism just receives the white light and, breaks it down into a rainbow. Its whole purpose is to differentiate the light.
So if I'm stressed out, trying to force something to happen, I'm acting like a prism trying to be its own sun.
And that's why we get exhausted. That's burnout. The principle is recognizing you're connected to an infinite supply. Your job isn't to create the supply, it's to create a clear channel for it.
Okay, that makes sense. It shifts the feeling from straining to directing. So once we accept that principle, that we're the distribution center, we need a way to direct it. That brings us to part 2, attention.
Attention is the tool. It's the steering wheel. This is where he sounds a lot like the ancient Stoics, with their idea of prossocia, continuous attention.
Right, and he says the subjective mind, which is like the engine, follows the objective mind, the pilot. Where your attention goes, the creative law starts to work.
Mm-hmm. And to clarify those terms, your objective mind is your conscious, reasoning self right now. The subjective mind is the deeper power. It runs your body, your habits. Troward would say it's your connection to the universal.
And the subjective mind is like soil in a garden. It just grows whatever seed you plant.
It just grows it. It cannot argue, as he puts it. It doesn't judge whether you're planting a seed of fear or a seed of confidence. It just gets to work. So your attention, that's the act of planting the seed.
So if I'm holding a magnifying glass still over a leaf, I can start a fire. But if I'm waving it all over the place worrying about this, then that nothing happens.
No fire. Your attention is the hand holding the glass steady. And modern neuroscience actually backs this up. They call it top-down processing. What you consciously choose to focus on tells your brain what data to amplify from the environment.
You literally train your brain to find evidence for what you're thinking about.
Precisely. You give the order, and the subjective mind says, yes, sir, and delivers.
Okay, so we have principle as the foundation and attention as the tool. But this third one, receptivity.
Ooh.
This is where I think a lot of people, including me, get tripped up.
Receptivity without passivity.
Yes, because receptivity sounds like just sitting on the couch waiting for good things to happen. Feels lazy.
And that is the biggest misunderstanding in the whole book. Troward is so clear that it's not passivity. It's actually a very active state. He uses the analogy of a dirty window.
Right. The sun is always shining outside.
Always. The sun is the universal mind. It's a constant. If the room is dark, it's not because the sun is broken. It's because the window is covered in grime.
So the work isn't to create light. The work is to clean the window.
Correct. And cleaning a window is work. You have to scrub. But, and this is the key, the scrubbing doesn't create the light. It just removes the obstacle to the light that's already there.
That distinction is everything.
It is. Receptivity is active readiness. Think of a goalie in soccer. They aren't passive. They're poised, every muscle ready, waiting to receive the ball. That's Troward's receptivity, a state of high alert and expectation.
Active readiness. I like that. It removes the laziness from the concept. You're showing up, ready to catch the ball, but you know you're not the one kicking it.
Exactly. Okay, so that leads us to the fourth and maybe the most central Trowardian rule. Work on causes, not conditions.
This feels like the core of the whole thing.
It really is. The world we see with our senses, our bank balance, a health report, an argument, those are all conditions. They are secondary effects. They're like shadows on a cave wall.
And the cause. The cause is the thought we hold in our mind.
The thought is the object casting the shadow. The biggest mistake we make is trying to change the shadow, trying to scrub the shadow off the wall.
But that feels so counterintuitive. If my bank account is empty, that feels like a very real condition I need to deal with. It feels delusional to just ignore it.
It does, because we're trained to believe what our senses tell us is the primary reality. Troward would say, your bank statement is a receipt. It's a historical document of your past thinking. It's real, like a footprint is real. But it only shows where you were, not where you're going.
So the condition is always in the past tense.
Exactly. The thought is present tense. The action is to withdraw your attention from the lack the condition and place it firmly on the ideal, which is the cause. It's an act of immense mental discipline.
Right, because there's a time lag. You change the cause, but the shadow doesn't move right away, so we panic and go back to focusing on the shadow.
And we give up. But the law is that the condition must eventually conform to the cause. It just has to.
So if we're doing that, if we're holding the cause in mind, how do we know what actions to take in the real world? This brings us to number 5, intuition.
Intuition as a signal that must be tested. This is the judge in him speaking. He wasn't for blindly following every little whim.
So it's not just follow your gut no matter what.
Not exactly. Intuition is the subjective mind speaking to the objective mind. It has access to more data. It can see around corners, so to speak. But that signal has to pass through the filter of our own personality, our fears, our desires.
A panic attack can feel a lot like a gut feeling.
It can. So Troward says you test it, you get the hunch, you listen to it, but then you bring in your reason. You ask, is this constructive? Does this align with my character? Is it logical in the long run? You verify the signal. You don't just obey it, but you don't dismiss it either. It's a partnership.
I like that, partnership. Okay, number 6, restoration and renewal. This sounds like more than just taking a bubble bath.
It's about your inner climate. You can't run a car on an empty tank. Troward talks about needing periods of unnoticing the world.
Wu wei, almost.
Very similar. It's deliberately taking your attention off the conditions, off the shadows, and just letting the system reset. Especially now, with our phones screaming for our attention, this is more critical than ever.
If your nervous system is always in fight or flight, you're just reacting. You can't direct anything.
You can't. Restoration creates that inner silence where you can get recharged and, hear the intuition in the first place.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Number 7, the will. And I think most of us get this one wrong. We think of willpower as just forcing ourselves to do things we don't want to do.
The will as direction, not strain. That's the key. The common error is thinking will means gritting your teeth and clenching your fists.
Which is actually a sign of weakness, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're straining, it means you don't really trust the law to work. You're trying to do its job for it.
Exactly. You're trying to carry the water instead of just turning on the tap. The will is not the engine, it's the rudder. Its only job is to hold the mental image in place so the law can fill it.
Like holding a camera steady. You're not forcing the light in. You're just keeping the lens pointed in the right direction.
That's it perfectly. It's about focus, not force.
Okay, so those are the 7 parts. Let's see them in action. Let's take a story. A project manager. A crisis at work. The deadline is missed. The team's panicking. The budget is gone.
Okay. The old way, the way most of us would react, is to focus on the conditions. The manager sees the missed deadline, the shadow, and attacks it. He starts working 18-hour days. He's yelling, sending frantic emails, total strain.
And his attention is just fixated on the lack. We don't have enough time. This is a disaster. He's basically visualizing failure.
He's pouring fuel on the fire. He's trying to scrub the shadow off the wall while his own fear is making the object casting it even bigger.
Okay, let's rewind that scene. Same crisis, same bad news. But now the project manager applies the whole method. What does he do first?
First, he stops. He practices restoration. He goes into an empty office for just a few minutes, breathes. He refuses to let the panic be his operating system.
He disconnects from the shadows. Then what?
Then principle. He reminds himself, I'm a center of distribution for order, not chaos. A solution already exists. I just need to allow it.
That immediately changes the feeling. It's not all on his shoulders anymore.
Right. Then, attention. He deliberately pulls his focus off the late deadline and the angry client, and he places it entirely on the image of the finished, successful project. He sees the team celebrate.
He's working on the cause.
Next, will. He uses his will not to force the work, but to keep himself and the team focused on the immediate next step. He's steering calmly, not fighting the storm.
And in that state of calm,
An intuition arises, a hunch, just a quiet thought. Call that old vendor we haven't used in years. Logic might dismiss it, but he tests it with reason. Is there a downside? No. Is it possible it could work? Yes. So he makes the call.
and the vendor has a last-minute opening and can solve the problem.
Exactly. The solution didn't appear by magic. It appeared because he engineered a mental state where the solution could get through to him. It was calm, directed action.
That's such a powerful example. Let's do a guided exercise for everyone listening, something they can do right now. We'll call it the mosaic method.
Great idea.
Okay, if you're listening, just follow along mentally. Step 1, choose one area you want to change. Health, finances, or relationship. Just pick one.
Don't try to boil the ocean. One specific thing.
Step 2, name the condition you see. Be honest. Is it confusion? Lack? Then name the cause you'll work on. The opposite, maybe clarity or abundance.
You're identifying the shadow and then identifying the object you're going to focus on.
Step 3, choose the principle you will hold. A single quality. Peace, intelligence, supply. Pick one that feels right. Step 4, choose the smallest consistent action that expresses that principle. Not a huge gesture, a micro habit. If your principle is the spike wort, maybe you just make your bed.
Small, consistent actions. That's the key to natural growth.
Step 5, remove one contradiction. What's one thing you do that denies your principle? If you're focused on supply, maybe you stop complaining about prices for a week.
You have to close the leaks.
Step 6, ask the clean question for intuition. What is the next right step? And then just wait. Listen.
Don't force an answer. Let it arise.
Step 7, test that answer with reason and your own character. Does it feel right? Is it constructive?
Check it with the judge.
And finally, step 8, commit to gentle direction. When your attention wanders back to the old problem, and it will just gently bring it back. No guilt. Just steer the wheel back onto the road.
It's a practice, not a performance.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's cover the common mistakes people make. First, confusing will with force.
The fix is physical. Check your body. If your jaw is clenched, you're forcing. Will is mental focus, not muscular tension. If it feels exhausting, you're probably doing it wrong.
Mistake 2, living in the conditions, obsessing over the bank account.
The fix is a reframe. See it as a past tense record. It's old news. It's the receipt from last week's thinking. Look at the blueprint, not the flawed foundation.
Mistake 3, passive waiting, just sitting on the couch.
The fix is to remember active readiness. You have to show up. You have to polish the window. You have to be in the game, ready to catch the ball.
Mistake 4, ignoring reason, falling for every strange impulse.
Right. Troward was not about that. The fix is to use your judicial mind. Weigh the evidence. Don't swallow every idea whole just because it feels intuitive.
And the last one, number 5, inconsistency.
The fix here is simple. A small stream flows further than a splashing bucket. 5 minutes of focused practice every day beats 2 hours once a week. It's about grooving the new mental habit.
Okay. What a journey. Let's do a final quick recap of the whole method.
Absolutely. First, we recognize the principle of intelligence, that we're distributors.
Next, we use attention to steer the mind.
We maintain active receptivity alert and ready.
We change causes to alter conditions. Work on the mind, not the shadow.
We listen to intuition, but always test it with reason.
We practice restoration to keep our inner climate calm and recharged.
And finally, we use the will to guide, never to force. It's the rudder, not the engine.
That is the whole architecture. This
Huh.
concludes our time with Thomas Troward, and it has been just an incredible look into this judicial mind.
It has.
But we're not stopping. We're moving from the judicial mind to, let's say, the devotional heart.
Yes. Next, we're starting a whole new series diving into the work of H. Emily Cady and her classic book, Lessons in Truth. It's a different energy, but equally powerful.
It is. But please remember that this method we've outlined today, it's an architecture for living, not just a philosophy for thinking. It only works if you actually apply it.
You have to build the house.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.